David is arrested connected to the murder of Celeste. I ain't gonna lie, I think a lot of people already knew this was about to happen, but this is...
Anyway, in updated news, David has now finally been arrested in connection to the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. According to recent reports, David has officially been arrested in connection, and according to LAPD, David, born David Anthony Burke, was arrested by Robbery Homicide Division in connection with Hernandez's murder and is currently being held without bail. The case is set to be presented to the district attorney's office on Monday for filing consideration, so he's pretty much cooked. Emo boy, Hello Kitty assessed, weirdo predator, like this is an actual predator, someone who's actually involved in the murder of another individual. Not Saikuno and all these other e-celebs you guys want to water down the word predator for.
Woo! You know what I'm saying? I forgot how old he was, but wasn't she like, I don't know, 14, I think, or like 15, something like that? She was somewhere around that age. I can't remember, but that's insane, bro.
All right, so the gate is locked. You want to open the gate? Sir? Open the gate.
And now people in the comment section are saying internet solved this within 24 hours, but here we are months later. Another person said this gotta be the slowest arrest ever made. Listen, they're trying to have an ironclad case here. They had plenty of time, and I'm pretty sure he's probably gonna get, well, decades in prison, maybe. Joanna said, hire all the ones who solved it online from the same day and fire the detectives. Nah, that's not how that works, but I understand what she's saying. Someone said, took them a while, but glad they did the right thing. I mean, it's not like they had any other choice. Other people are saying, I think the internet solved it the first day. One person said, took the internet 2 minutes to decide he was guilty. I mean, it was obvious, right? Like, of course. People still took months to collect every single data point, but after all that was collected and combined and the larger picture was formulated, yeah, he was pretty much fried. And by the way, this information was provided by the official LAPD PIO. They said detectives from Los Angeles Police Department Robbery Homicide Division, right? So they basically, this is basically the official page for that unit. And just to catch up a lot of people to this case, because, you know, not everybody was around during the David case in terms of, you know, keeping their eyes on the details and hearing about updates. So I'm gonna play a little bit about, I'm gonna play some clips and some video footage from ABC7 about latest details.
Presented to the DA's office on Monday for filing consideration. You may remember, and we've been reporting, Rivas's body was found in the trunk of David's car in September of last year. She was only 14 years old. Again, this breaking news just into our newsroom. We're working.
14 years old, my nigga. That is insane.
To get more information, and we'll continue to follow this story.
Yes, so for people who are completely oblivious to the David case, of which I don't know how, if you are on social media, you would be, but she was 14. The timeline spans from like 12, actually 10 to 14, like, because they knew it just, they knew each other. They met online, Discord apparently, through Fortnite, and then everything escalated year by year by year, and it's just a disgusting case.
Do you want to go ahead and bring in now ABC's Alex Stone on the phone to speak more about this case? Alex, you've been following this from the very beginning. What can you tell us as far as this breaking information goes this afternoon?
Also, we're going to be speeding this up.
Well, Mark and Michelle, yeah, sources are telling us that this is based off of evidence that the LAPD was able to gather and put together and now is going to be presenting to the LA County DA for a filing decision on Monday.
On Monday.
This was not from any kind of indictment. We know that the case had gone to a grand jury. It was expected that there might be an indictment coming sometime soon. We were thinking in the last couple of months or in the next few weeks. This was not from that. We are told that this is evidence that they have been compiling going back to when her body was found last September, that now they have reached a point where they believe they have probable cause.
Base 44 super agents. The next thing you can't live without.
That is so crazy,
No setup.
bro.
Just say hello.
And it's gone to the DA.
This shit is crazy.
And guys, that is one important note and point I want to make. Yes, unfortunately, it took them a long time to build this case, but in certain cases, especially when it comes to influential rich people, they want to make sure their cases are ironclad. I understand the frustrations we've been through since last year about this case being, I guess, stalled out or stagnated, because from us, from an outsider perspective, it looks like they're not doing anything, but inside, of course, they've been working diligently and thoroughly to make sure that this guy and whoever is connected to her murder goes away for a very long time. Again, this is the most disgusting case I've heard from a creator, someone of influence being outed in such a way. And even if he's not directly the murderer, he's clearly connected And clearly he had some type of sexual relationship with her, which would be already a criminal federal offense in and of itself.
And so a lot of people wondering, you know, so many things seem to point to him. Why did it take them this long to make the arrest? We know they're pretty methodical about how they do things, but.
Yeah, it's a good question. One of the things that they were waiting on, Mark, was the cause of death. And there was difficulty reaching that cause of death, not to get too graphic, but her body was in multiple parts. It was in, we know from court documents, different body bags in the front trunk of that Tesla when her body was found. So it was difficult for the medical examiner to determine the cause of death. So they had to prove or be able to show to the DA that she was murdered, that it wasn't something else where, you know, let's say that she overdosed and then somebody freaked out and put her body in that trunk. They have to be able to prove that it was murder. They now believe that they can do that.
Exactly. And because initially it was so convoluted in why she died and how she died, you know, because they used terms like disintegration and torn apart as if someone chopped her up. But apparently her body most likely was put in the back of the front of a trunk, because in a Tesla, the trunk is in the front. A frunk, I guess they call it. And because of the heat and the enclosed environment of which it was in, that likely exacerbated the decomposition of the body to where it naturally decomposed or disintegrated itself without having to fully be chopped up per se by a murderer. And one of the other theories was that her body was already, you know, she was already murdered, frozen, and then transferred out into a vehicle to be transferred over to another place, likely for burial. And some, I guess, bad logistics led it to where messed up the plans, body was left in the truck. I don't know the specific details they now have as for a timeline and specifically how she was murdered from point A to point B to point C to point D. But now they feel like they have enough evidence to point out that she was murdered intentionally. This is what I'm picking.
All right.
Yeah, we also know, you know, David, as many entertainers do, had an entourage of people around him at times. I know some other individuals have been considered as drivers of this vehicle or either around. Any information on possibly how this could impact other people that David was around that also may have been around Celeste Rivas?
Michelle, we don't know yet, and if there are any other arrests that are going to be coming in this case. We know that there were a number of witnesses who came and testified in front of the grand jury, again, that this was not an indictment, that this is probable cause that the LAPD put together and moved forward on. But during the grand jury proceedings, which are secret as they're ongoing, there were a number of other people who came forward. Those who are close to David, friends of David, family members of his were subpoenaed to go in front of the grand jury. So if there are other arrests that could be coming, we don't know. But as of right now, he is the only one that we know of under arrest.
All right.
It's cooked, because when you have that many loopholes, that many liabilities, that many branches of people who know you and were witnesses and or have access to messages you may have sent them, it's not going to be airtight. There's always going to be one security vulnerability of which anybody, for really that matter, detectives, investigators, hackers, can use and exploit in order to link you to a potential crime, in this case a murder, because of things you may have sent accidentally, IP addresses, cached images, fingerprinting. And we live in the most heavily surveilled society we've ever been in. You're always going to mess up in one way or another. Even some of the most smart, intelligent, thorough criminals in the world will get screwed over because of either something someone else they knew did, a leaked address, using your own personal equipment to commit a crime. I mean, I just want to know who's going to start snitching. And I wouldn't be shocked if David wasn't the one who specifically put his hands on her and murdered her. I wouldn't be shocked if someone did it for him through his own requests. And just to clarify, he is being held without bail. That is what they're saying. Burke is being held without bail. So whichever judge is presiding over this case at this point must have seen so much evidence to the point to where they said, nah, we can't let this guy out. We can't even give him the chance to flee. And again, back to the comments, people are saying 8 months later, internet solved it already. We still listening to Here With Me and Romantic Homicide, right? Yeah. Bro, what do you... Someone said worst police work of all time. Like, come on, man. Give him a break, bro. Give him a break. But yeah, guys, looks like the progress of this case is now escalating, and we are now getting closer and closer to a full-blown trial. Hopefully they allow filming in the court, because I want to see, we all want to see what's going to go down. We want to see people's reactions, faces. We want to see the judge. We want to hear the deliberations, defense and the plaintiffs and the witnesses get on the stand. Like, this is really
I'm about to say,
yeah, guys, this is, chop it up in the chat, in the comment section. What do you think about this? David is finally getting closer and closer to sealing it.
To sealing it and finally solving what happened to this little girl, bro. Like, this is 14 years old. I don't even know how old David is. I know he's a grown-ass man, though. It's like 20, maybe 21, 20. I literally have no clue. But that's, this is insane, bro.